2 days later, the same room, Nick and Bashir, and Imam Salim in a white shawl and shalwar, regal with charisma to burn. He addresses Nick, articulate. He speaks with a pronounced Pakistani accent. When I started out in the world as a young man, it was as a journalist, writing for the newspaper in Bahawalpur, south of Lahore. Bahawalpur Times? You know it? I do. I've spent some time there. That was home, where I was raised, where my family is from. I knew the place, I knew the people. I wrote local news, stories I hoped would make some difference. A village's entire year's wheat crop lost in a fire, a new technique for digging wells that made it easier for farmers to irrigate their fields. I wrote a lot about farmers. A child born to a sharecropper's family who had a remarkable ability in maths. Truly remarkable. That article was a success. Someone with the power to do something read it. That young boy got a scholarship to go to study in London. Was that Bashir? I told you I was born in London, not Bahawalpur. It was not Bashir, though it could have been. He's like a son to me now, a very brilliant young man. Despite the occasional lapse, your kidnapping, for example. Right. The one thing I couldn't write about, the one thing that really mattered, was corruption. There is a road from eastern Bahawalpur to some of the outlying villages, a road that some 100,000 people depend on. Unusable, pockmarked with potholes the size of a city bus. Nangni Road. Right. Every year in local council, Nangni Road was at the top of the list. Every year it was brought up in Parliament. Every year it was voted on, approved, paid for 10 years. But the road has never been fixed. I wrote the article, told the story of where that money might have been going. My editor killed it. Of course, I was fired, lectured about how I should know better. 2 days later, my father was coming home from work. 3 men ambushed him. They were riding motorcycles. They beat him to the ground with chains. My father was left on the side of the road. They told him, "Tell your son not to worry about Nangni Road. It's fine just the way it is." Jesus. For 3 days he survived, long enough to berate me for my foolishness. You see, we are prisoners of a corrupt country that is our own making, but don't pretend you don't participate. You do. Of course you do. That's your job. That was Mr. Carey Martin's job, to grease the wheels, to rape and plunder our nation. I commend you for not objecting, Mr. Bright. One of the many things I never seem to have learned, that the key to success in life is keeping one's true thoughts to oneself. It was a very long path from that young man whose father was killed because of him to the person you see before you today. A long journey, but a straight one. A clean line. A clean line of outrage. Are you following me, Mr. Bright? I believe so. What am I telling you? That you kidnapped me so you can fix roads? Exactly. When Bashir came to me with your idea, I was skeptical, but he made a passionate case. We have a growing annual budget. If he had a deeper understanding of the financial side of things, that would be very